Hey everybody, here are the instructions for how you are going to science rock candy. So these first three slides are informational slides for you. And then these next slides down here, you're going to find your name and you're going to follow the instructions here, which I will go over. Okay, on the second slide here, we have information on how do sugar crystals form. So, what is this process? It's actually it has to do with supersaturated liquids, precipitation, and evaporation. Hopefully, those terms are somewhat familiar to you. You maybe heard them in sixth grade and seventh grade, but this really goes into how this works. So I'd like you to read this, and then there's three videos you need to watch. These two are specifically about rock candy themselves, like what's going on at a molecular level. This one actually has a recipe at the start, and then there's some nice animations that show what's going on. This one is a lot of drawings, and then this one is a TEDx video that shows how like crystals work in general and how similar things like amethysts or other minerals that we wear for jewelry, how these crystals form very similarly to sugar crystals. So go ahead, read this, watch these. Sound super, super smart when explaining it to people. You sound so grown up and intelligent. All right. And then what you're going to do is you are going to choose your own experiment that you want to do with rock candy. So this is not like baking soda and vinegar, where I basically told you what to do, which was basically mix baking soda and vinegar together, right? You have to think about um, what kind of experiment you want to do. So, the big one question that I think frames all this is what makes the biggest crystals, right? Because we all want like really nice, big rock candy, things like that look so pretty and big. And maybe you've done this before and you just get like a few like tiny, tiny little crystals that are like really sad. Um, so like what makes the biggest crystal? Let's figure that out. So I have some examples here, right? Is it different types of water, right? So you could try making crystals with different types of water, tap, filtered, bottle, different types of sugar, like does white sugar, brown sugar, powdered sugar, corn syrup. Does that work? Different liquids, water, juice, pop, etc. Right? Different substrates, right? We see rock candy on sticks. It can also be on string. So it's like a wood skewer, popsicle stick, thread, string, different types of string. Like, does that like affect crystal growth size? Different cooling temperature. So it does crystal growth, like, does it change if you cool it down at room temperature or in the fridge or in the freezer? Does that make a difference? Or maybe you have like another idea, right? Or something else. So these are just some ideas to get you started. Um, you're going to need a recipe to follow for no matter what you do. You want to make sure that recipe is the same for each treatment. So if you're using sticks versus strings or different types of sugar, you want to make sure the steps in your recipe are the same. So I have two different videos of two different recipes here. I also have these pictures are actually links to web pages that give you some ideas for different recipes. If you want to Google your own recipe, that's fine. This video also starts out with a recipe as well. So find a recipe that you like, you think you could do and you'd like to follow, right? And then you're going to come to your slide. And again, Tess, as always, because you're first here, um, I'm going to use you as an example. So the first thing you need to do is write a purpose, right? So the purpose of my experiment is to see which type of sugar creates the largest crystals. Right? So I'm going to type that in there. And then you're going to create a hypothesis. I hypothesize that, let's say powdered. Spell that? No, I didn't spell it right. Of course I didn't spell that right. Can't spell anything. Sugar will make the largest crystals. Crystals. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put my purpose and hypothesis, whatever that is in there. And then I'm going to create a video of me doing the experiment at different times. Maybe, you can start it a little bit of while you're setting it up, maybe like once you put the stick in, and then maybe, after the start, after a few hours a day. I will say this, and I'll say this a couple times. If you're choosing to do this experiment, great. Please get this started on Tuesday. A lot of these recipes that I went through, you actually get better results if you let the evaporation go for a few days. So if you did this on Tuesday, and then you could be done with it on like Thursday morning, right? So that would be nice. Um, so, one reminder about your video, if you could, please, please, please make sure to add your video to this folder right here. If your video is in this folder, then you do not have to share it with me and it's automatically shared with the whole class. And then once your video is in this folder right here, you can go back here and you can insert your video. All right. Then after that, you need to include a graph or table of your results. So that means you're going to have to open up a spreadsheet, which I did. And for my experiment, I have the types of sugar. Let's say I tried white sugar, brown sugar, powdered sugar, corn syrup. Let's pretend that's what I had in my house, right? And hopefully this project, you don't need anything. You should be able to think of an experiment with things that you have in your house. And then I'm going to measure the width of my crystals, right? You could do diameter or width. That's up to you. I'm going to make some real rando numbers right here. Okay. And then you could just copy and paste this table straight in there. If you want to make a graph, I would suggest that. You're going to be making lots of graphs in high school, so it's never a bad thing to practice, maybe customizing it, make sure these are labeled properly. It's got a good title that you like. I don't know if I like this title. I would change that. Since we're comparing things, I would definitely use a column or a bar chart, whichever. Can change the colors and customize, do all that fun stuff. Anyways, copy that over and go ahead and paste it right here. And then on Thursday during class, our Zoom class, you're going to show your video and you're going to go through your results, just talk about what happened, if your hypothesis was correct or incorrect, things like that. So this should be pretty fun. I hope you enjoy yourself. I hope your rock candy tastes nice so you can eat it when you're done. Nothing like sugar. It's delicious. And please email me if you have any questions.